Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I trust you're doing well. This time around, I want to discuss the concept of supply. Without much ado, we'll look at the definition of supply, and then we continue with the law of supply. We also look at the supply curve, and then we'll discuss determinants of supply, and then continue with exceptional supply curves, and finally distinguish between changes in supply versus changes in quantity supplied. Now, let's talk about definition of supply. First of all, what you have to know is that supply relates to sellers as demand relates to consumers. So when you talk of supply, supply refers to the amount of a commodity that sellers, in other words, producers, are willing and able to offer for sale at a given price at a given period of time. The quantity of a commodity, the amount of a product that the producers are willing and able to sell at a given price within a period of time. That is what is termed as supply. It is important to understand that supply is different from stock of goods. Supply is different from stock of goods. Now, stock of goods relates to the entire production, but supply is the fraction that we are willing to sell. For those of us who have lived in farming communities before, sometimes it's common that producers, farmers, they harvest their crops and keep them in barns for some time before they offer them for sale. So in that case, since they are not willing to sell at a particular point in time, it's not part of supply. It only becomes supply when we are willing and able to sell. All right. Now I want to discuss the law of supply. In the case of demand, it was the higher, the lower, and the lower, the higher. In the case of supply, it's the higher, and the lower, the lower. What are we talking about? The law of supply states that the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied. But the lower the price, the lower the quantity supplied. All other things being equal. So what it means is that the amount of a commodity that will be supplied is directly related to its price. When prices are high, sellers are always willing to supply more. So this indicates a direct relationship, a direct or positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. Good. Now I want to look at the market supply curve, the market supply curve. So from the law of supply, you can see that when prices are increasing, then sellers are willing to supply more. So graphically, you will get an upward sloping curve, an upward sloping curve, and that indicates the slope of the market supply curve. And this is derived from the market supply schedule, from the market supply schedule. And what's the market supply schedule? The market supply schedule is just a table showing the various quantities that would be supplied at various prices. So as you can see from the screen, now at the price of 1, individual supply A is willing to supply 10 units of a commodity, but supply B is willing to supply 5. So market supply is 15. Now at price of 2 cedis, market supply is 30. At price of 3, market supply is 45, and so on, and so on. So what do we observe? We observe that as the price is what? Increasing, the quantity supplied is also increasing. And graphing this information, that is graphing the price of the commodity and the market supply values, then we obtain the upward sloping curve. And this is the market supply curve. Now the curve slopes upwards from left to right, indicating that the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied, all other things being equal. That is ceteris paribus under normal circumstance. Under normal circumstance, when prices are high, supply will also be high. But when prices are low, supply will be low. Okay, very much I do want to look at the determinants of supply. Determinants of supply. That are the factors that will make sellers supply more or less. And what's the first one? The price of the commodity in question. The price. Normally, when the price is high, sellers want to supply more. And what is the reason? It's because of profit motive. Profit motive. Higher prices always give incentive for sellers to supply more. Normally, when you are selling, you wish the price were higher. Anytime you are selling, you would wish the price were higher. Right? See, the case of demand, as for buyers, they wish the price were lower. So now the main reason why at higher prices, sellers want to supply more is that higher prices always give incentive for them to make more profit. Now, let me ask, assuming you have some dollars to change, would you wish the price of the dollar were lower or higher? And another circumstance, you would wish that the price of the dollar were higher so that when you change, you get more money. All right. And please, as you are discussing this, it is not just for exam. What we have to know is that there are some commodities whose prices fluctuate a lot. So in view of this, when their prices are low, you know, you can just buy and store. You can buy and store. Like our farmers used to do those days when they harvest their crops, they store. So in a situation where the price is very low, assuming, let's say, one of these uh, supermarkets or departmental shops is organizing, it's running sales or promotion, whatever. Or let's say on a Black Friday, they reduce their prices drastically. You can buy and store. And when you see that the price is rising, then you begin to offer them for sale. And this is the main reason why a lot of people are into maize business. Most of these rich men we see in Ghana are into maize business. When the price is low, they buy and store. And as the price is beginning to increase, then they offer them for sale. That's a practical reason. So sometimes we say, oh, the higher the price, the higher the quantity supplied, and we just say this for example. No, the practical implication is that anytime you realize that the price of a commodity is very low, if the commodity is not perishable, just purchase it, store. And then when you see that the price is rising, you just release it for sale, and that'll be the beginning of your riches. Now, the second factor is prices of other related commodities. Prices of other related commodities. For instance, a commodity like pepper and tomato, they can all be produced using the same resources. The same factors of production can be used to cultivate either pepper or tomato. So in a situation where the price of pepper is high, then the producers can channel their resources into the production of pepper. Since the price has risen, that means there's more opportunity to make more profit. And in this case, supply of pepper will rise and supply of tomato will rather what? Fall. So the price of commodity A can definitely affect the price of the supply of commodity B. And then also government policies, the kind of policy that the government will put in place. For instance, if government wants people to go into poultry farming, yeah, government can more or less give subsidies, some incentives. Government can say that maybe fresh graduates, young graduates who are interested in poultry farming, maybe should come for 10,000 cities, or maybe should come for certain, maybe free accommodation, free land. And this will go a long way to motivate a lot of people to go into poultry farming. So government giving subsidies. On the other hand, if government is more or less introducing more taxes, this will go a long way to discourage people from going into the production of the commodity. So government policy is very important when it comes to the supply of a commodity. And then also prices of factors of production. That's the cost. The cost involved. For instance, to establish a hospital or to establish a school, all that thing being equal, the cost of establishing a hospital it's so great. Even to buy one machine for a lab test is not easy. So some of these in one hospital bed. So other things being equal, we expect that supply of schools will be more than the supply of hospitals, since it is more costly. Or even to employ a doctor to manage a hospital, we all know it's not easy. So what is that telling us? If maybe as a young graduate, you want to go into business, sometimes you must consider the cost involved. We may be ambitious, it's good. It's good to have faith. It's good to have vision. But sometimes you have to be realistic. If the cost involved in establishing the business is so high, sometimes you will go into it and you have very serious challenges, and that can prevent you from excelling the business. So the cost involved in establishing the business or the prices of the factors of production matter a lot. And then climatic factors. This normally affects agricultural products. A very good amount of rainfall and then reasonable amount of sunshine will go a long way to increase the supply of agricultural products. When we experience bad weather, other things being equal, supply will be less. And then technology. When we say technology, it's about the method, technology. So when we say information technology, the method of sending what? Information, technology, the method we are using. So when we use modern scientific methods, other things being equal, we are going to produce more, supply more. But I remember those days when bakers had to resort to some using what? A local oven made with clay. And sometimes this will take hours for them to set out the fire, for the fire to burn into ashes before they'll be able to produce even a single loaf of bread. But now we have advanced, let me say, machines. And we even have electric ovens and gas ovens, very large ones that can produce a lot within a very short time. So the method we are using will also determine whether supply will be high or low. So in the near future, as a manager, what you have to know, sometimes when you invest in a simple technology, it will go a long way to increase production very fast. And you know, if you have to incur a fixed cost, that can make you produce more. You don't have to hesitate. You don't have to hesitate, say that, oh, it's expensive. You must always consider the value. If the value will be beneficial to the organization, why not? Now, let's talk about types of supply. Types of supply. The first one is joint supply. Joint supply is when two commodities are just supplied together. Supply of one commodity will definitely lead to supply of another commodity. Definitely. The word is what? Definitely. Like for instance, supply of palm oil. If you are producing palm oil, you definitely produce palm kernel. By producing palm oil, you definitely get palm kernel, whether you like it or not. So we say that palm oil and palm kernel have joint supply. They have joint supply. Or by producing plywood, you definitely produce what? Sawdust. And that is joint supply. And then the next one is competitive supply. Competitive supply. This is where two commodities are more or less competing with each other. Like the example I gave early on, pepper and tomato, they can all be produced from the same resource, the same land that can be used to produce pepper, can be used to produce tomato. So in this case, the supply of tomato can affect the supply of pepper what? Negatively. All right. And then finally, we have composite supply. Composite supply. You see, some commodities can be supplied from several sources. We can supply the commodity from several sources. Like for instance, when it comes to water, water can be obtained from wells. Water can be obtained from rivers. You can have rainwater and then different sources of water. So this afternoon, this is what I want to discuss briefly. Thank you very much for your attention. God bless.